everyone. Before we get into today's video is the topic is struggle. Now, I had a couple of different options with this video. I could have gone the normal route that everyone else does and talk about the struggle of checking your blood sugar and almost dying and taking shots and putting on pumps. I could have gone the lesser traveled road and talked about how you have to deal with the struggle of fighting for insurance and fighting for supplies and fighting to make sure you have your insulin on time. And when the doctor says, oh, well, you've got 2 more days before you can fill this prescription, but you're out of insulin today. Could have talked about that kind of struggle. But instead, I am choosing to talk about the struggle that is not discussed. The struggle of mental health. So just a little warning for anyone out there, if talk of suicide or ideations of hurting yourself or any of these other things bother you, then you need to click off the video now. Just letting everybody know. I am in several type 1 diabetic groups on Facebook, and I go to meetings at my local JDRF. I hear often from other adults about the struggle with mental health, the struggle of suicide, of the rundown every day dealing with this, and the stress that not only the illness itself and the medication and the shots give, but also the stress financially and the burden that can put on your relationships with your spouse, or in my case, the relationship I have with my children, because when my numbers get crazy, I get crazy, and it does put a detriment on some of the way that they look at you. This becomes a problem in the type 1 community because we have everything in our hands to get the job done, so to speak. We fight the urge sometimes to just dial up the correct amount of medication instead of ramping that insulin pen up or ramping those carbs up in our meter just to get the overdose of insulin. Dying from insulin is not a quick, easy death. It takes a minute and you know what's coming. Whether you die from high or low, either one, you know it's coming and you feel it and it hurts. So when we think about things like that, it's not necessarily to hurt those around us or because we want to deal with the pain. It's sometimes because it seems like that would be a fairly easy way to not have to deal with diabetes anymore. Because you don't get the choice to quit. You don't go on vacation and it stops. You don't go to your wedding day and it's not there. You don't go to bed at night and it's gone. It's a constant shadow. It's a constant monkey on your back, if you will. It never gives you a break. It never eases up. It never blinks, not even for a second. You never have the chance to catch up, to catch your breath, to feel like you're winning. It's always winning, and you're always catching up, and you're always trying, and it never makes a difference sometimes. And that's hard for people that don't deal with it every day to grasp. And a lot of times we're good at putting the facade up, the mask, the wall. And everyone's like, hey, how you doing? I'm doing great. But in reality, on the inside, we're not great. We're struggling. And every person has a time in their life that they struggle. And if that's you right now and you need to hear that right now, don't do it. You're totally worth taking the time and powering through whatever it is that you're going through. Because on the other side of this is better days. There's better times coming. And no matter how hard your struggle is right now today, don't make a permanent choice for a temporary situation. And it's very important that people don't try to fix you. Nobody can fix your problems. You're not broken in a way that you need to be fixed. There is struggle for everybody. Everybody has medications that aren't coming through, or an illness that won't go away, or family struggles, or relationship problems, or money problems, or all sorts of problems. Every person on this planet, there's not one person that doesn't have problems. But nothing is worth taking your life over. Nothing is worth putting your friends and family through that kind of struggle. No matter how hard your struggle is, if you talk to somebody, some of the burden will be light. There is a saying, many hands make light work. And whether that work is physical, like cleaning your house or whatever, or if that's mental, just talking to somebody helps. Me, myself, I can't talk to the people who I know about my mental health issues because that makes me feel exposed, if you will, or open, or like I'm not strong enough to handle it. I choose, whenever I have problems, to call a hotline. There's local hotlines that you can call. At the end of this video, I will put up the national hotlines, a couple of those numbers for you to contact if you need. If you are diabetic, your local JDRF has some great programs and great people willing to help. If you're struggling to get your medications, there's programs for that. Call the supplier that makes your medications, call your pharmacist, call your doctor. There's always samples and stuff. There's ways to get through. And online, there's several groups that are medication sharing for what your particular ailments are. There's type 1 medication sharing groups. There's for type 2. There's for epilepsy. Whatever you have, there is a group for you to talk to. There are people for you to talk to that you don't have to know them personally. They don't have to be able to hold it over your head or continue to come back to you. They are there just to talk to. Just even if you have a pen pal, or just write online, or call the suicide prevention hotline. Call somebody. If you're comfortable talking to family and friends, then do that. Whatever you need to do to make it through that day, to make it through that night, to make it through that dose of medication, whatever it takes. Because I guarantee you, no matter how what is hard, no matter how tedious it becomes, you're worth it. And mental health has a stigma around it, which is why this isn't talked about often. That's why suicide isn't talked about unless it's a teenager that was bullied. We have put such a stigma on this and made depression into a bad word. Depression isn't a bad word. Suicide's not a bad word. These are things that we need to get out there and we need to talk about, because if we don't, then the awareness isn't there. Then nobody understands that just because you seem good on the outside doesn't mean you're not hurting inside. Every single person you see is hurting to some extent on the inside. You don't know if that lady that you passed at Walmart is having problems conceiving a baby and she had a miscarriage today. You don't know that maybe the gentleman that you're passing in line, maybe he is a war veteran and he is not right there with you like you think he is. Maybe he's seeing things that aren't right there. You don't know the struggle of the person standing right next to you. So I encourage each of you, each and every single one of you, to genuinely ask somebody how they are. Genuinely. And don't just wait for your turn to talk. Actually listen. Communicate with them. How are you doing? Are you sure? I know you went to work today. What happened at work? Find out. Ask these people. Ask anybody. Yeah, ask the stranger in the store. Be like, hey, you got really nice shoes. You have a good day today? Make a genuine effort to talk to somebody, to make a connection, because you never know if that one lady you smiled at, if that made her feel nice enough to where she went home and she was able to make it through her night that night. You don't know. You don't know if the lady that you met is having a rough time or not. I had a gentleman at the store. I was at the Dollar Tree today. My kids had grabbed 2 things of ramen noodles. They didn't need both of them. I said, pull one of them down. The gentleman picked up those ramen noodles and was going to buy them for my babies. I didn't need him to do that, and I told him so. And I said, no, sir. It's not a money thing. They just need to make a choice together. It's great. Thank you so much. Because he made the effort. He made the effort today to help a mom that he saw in the store and thought she might not be able to afford everything for her kids. He made an effort. He made me feel so good, even though it didn't do anything for me, even though I didn't do anything. I told the sir, I was like, sir, if you want to help somebody out, they're doing a toy drive right now for Christmas. Go ahead and take that $1 you were going to spend on us and buy a toy. Buy a toy for another kid that needs it. Because we're okay. I just needed my kids to get along with each other for 5 minutes and make a choice together instead of fighting about it. So, things like that. Be that person that's willing to turn to the person behind you when you see them putting things back and be like, oh no, it's okay, I got you today. Because that might be the struggle they're going through, and that might help them. And it always comes back to you. Whether it comes back to you and somebody buys your stuff, or you're having a rough day and you're in the line at the drive-thru and the worker genuinely looks at you and goes, are you okay? And then when you get home, there's a couple extra sauces or a little extra pack of chicken nuggets or something in there. You never know what a difference a smile can make. There are genuine problems in this world. So instead of tearing each other down, let's do a hand up, not a handout, a hand up. Help them up. Help them come back to reality with you. Bring them along. If you see a lady at work and you notice she's always sitting by herself, go sit with her. Ask her genuinely, hey, Mary, what you doing? How are you? Are you okay? Can I help with anything? I mean, gone are the days where we made casseroles and took them over to our neighbor's house when they were having problems. Let's bring those days back, y'all. I know for a fact you can go to the dollar store and get those little disposable trays. Each of you make something for dinner every night. Make a little extra. Take it to your neighbor. What happened to block parties? What happened to those things? What happened to feeling like you were a part of the community? We had a lot less problems with mental health and a lot less problems with depression and a lower suicide rate when we were actually neighbors, when we had friends with each other. Instead of waiting for our turn to talk, we listened to one another. Let's bring back those days. Let's bring back the relationships. Let's bring back the communication. Let's end the stigma and start helping each other out. I know each one of you has the capability to be that person, be that rock, be that foundation, the anchor, the little point of light at the end of the tunnel so somebody can make it through the darkness. So be that light. I encourage each of you to go out and help 3 people. 3 people in the next 24 hours. That's all it takes. Just smile at somebody. Help somebody carry their groceries to the car. Make faces at the baby that's crying in the line with you so that it quits crying, and give that mama 5 minutes. 5 minutes without her baby crying. That would help her out. Do anything you can, even if it seems so small that it couldn't possibly make a difference. I guarantee you, it makes a difference. Whether they say thank you or not, I'm saying thank you. I'm saying thank you to each and every one of you, because you're sitting here, you're watching this, and you're thinking. You're thinking for 5 minutes about mental health and about somebody else. How can you help somebody else? Whether it's going next door and just checking on your neighbor, making sure everything's all right. Or calling your friend up, being like, hey girl, I know you said you were having some problems. You mind if I watch your kids for a couple hours and you can go take a break? Go get your hair done. Here, go to Dairy Queen and sit and have you on ice cream and read a book without your kids bothering you. You never know if that 5 minutes out of your day is going to make or break somebody else's lifetime. And it's really simple for us just to turn that blind eye and keep on going, because we got shit to do today. But instead, pause. Pause for just 5 seconds. Take 5 minutes out of your day. Look at the person beside you. Offer them a hand up. Help somebody out. Because each of us has struggled dearly in our lives. And each of us at one point in time was looking for a hand, and there wasn't one. So be that hand. Be the light in the darkness. Go out and find your 3 people to help. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.